Welcome. This video is a workshop-style session that shows how ChatGPT is used to support business strategy and client planning. The video walks through examples of defining audiences, goals, plans, and customer journeys using custom GPTs. The focus is on observing how these concepts are demonstrated, not on adopting a specific approach or changing current practices. This video is complete on its own and concludes after the walkthrough. Once this video ends, you're done for now. Welcome to the Using ChatGPT Scale series. This series represents a group of courses that discuss how ChatGPT is commonly talked about at broader organizational and conceptual levels. The material here focuses on ideas, terminology, and examples that are often referenced when people describe team use, shared workflows, governance, and higher level planning. Nothing in this series requires you to change how you work, adopt new rules, or take action behind watching the individual courses you choose. Each course stands on its own and can be viewed independently. There is no requirement to complete all of them, and there is no expectation that they be watched in any order. If you want the order, you will notice we talk about the Black Belt program, the Pharos Digital Dojo. That is how the order in which we teach our students. You're free to skip around. There is no expectation to do all of them or beyond this video. Now, some learners will use this series to become familiar with how certain concepts are described in conversations about AI use in accounting and business settings. Others use it simply to satisfy credit requirements. Both uses are common and acceptable. As I said, you may notice references to ideas that sound larger in scope. For example, the Digital Dojo, the Black Belt program, that might be larger in scope than your current needs. Those references are included for context only. You are not expected to implement them, agree with them, or even remember them or complete them. You can start or stop with any course in this series at any time. Watching a single video fully completes that video and your CPE requirements. There is nothing you are required to do afterward unless you choose to continue. This series exists to provide a bounded, explanatory environment. Once you finish a video, there is nothing else required of you unless you decide otherwise. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Dojo. Today, we're hosting a workshop called From Confusion to Clarity, and I'm going to show people how to master ChatGPT for business transformation. Before we jump in, I just want to quickly say a couple of things. Number one, this is about using ChatGPT. If you're here for something else, I'm sorry, this is all we're talking about today. And the reason is, if you're going to learn how to use what is loosely called generative AI or AI, ChatGPT is my personal favorite as an entry point. Now, for the record, I can teach you about multiple different other tools. However, I promise you, you'll leave confused, your head will explode, and you'll hate me. So today we're focusing on ChatGPT and how to specifically apply it to a business setting. And for the record, this workshop is not for people who don't understand business. It's about people who are already probably using ChatGPT and they want to go beyond basic prompting to get into strategic leverage and operational excellence. So the live workshop is 90 minutes. The edited version that we share will be significantly shorter because I'm going to cut out some of the stuff. But today we're going to cover 4 things. And this is all, as a reminder, in the context of custom GPTs, ChatGPT. So my beliefs are that, number one, we need to know who our perfect prospect persona is. And really, that's about getting clarity on exactly who you serve and how you speak to them. Second, and this amazes me, I believe that core objectives basically your North Star for decision making, and anything you're doing AI related should have goals and should be clear. And I'm just astounded by how many businesses do not have core objectives or any understanding of, I'm going to put it bluntly, how do we measure success? Everybody says, I want to be a success. Congratulations. What does success mean? What does it look like? And then we're going to get into strategic planning. I personally am on a mission to end tactical leadership as a standalone. And the reason I say that is tactical. If you go back to the days of Stephen Covey, there's a chapter in one of his books, and I just remember the saying was, a tactical leader will make sure we're making great progress. A strategic leader will make sure we're in the right forest. So I personally, I have a Sun Tzu quote that I've tattooed into my brain. And basically, the quote is, strategy without tactics is the slowest path to success. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So a lot of people come to me and say, Jeff, what do I do? Jeff, what do I do? Give me something to do. I want to do something. Calm down, take a breath. First thing is we need to come up with a strategic plan. And for what it's worth, a lot of people say, I don't want to slow down. I want to keep moving. And back to Stephen Covey, there's a line in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People where somebody climbs the ladder and says, we're in the wrong forest. They're cutting trees and making great progress, but they're in the wrong forest. So our job today is to make sure you are in the right forest. And then the fourth thing we're going to cover, and I'm going to be honest, I could easily justify putting the customer journey map third instead of fourth. However, really, truly, I want you to understand all 4 of these interplay. One affects the other and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Now, what I see, and this fascinates me, very few people actually know what their customer journey looks like. And there's a saying, a confused mind never buys. Well, that confused mind also never finishes, never actually uses, never steps forward. I find it fascinating, and this goes all the way up to Fortune 500s. They let the customer figure out what their journey should be. Now, I'm going to argue that theoretically, you're the expert at the thing you do, whether you sell products or services. Therefore, you are the one who should be able to tell the customer what their next step should be. And it is fascinating to me how few businesses actually even bother doing this. I'm going to bring up an old example, and that was John Stanton, the founder of the Running Room. He wrote a book called Running from Start to Finish, which, by the way, is a great literal translation, but it's also a great metaphor. And he actually laid the book out from going from couch potato to 5K, 5K to 10K, 10K to half marathon to full marathon, and then full marathon to qualifying for Boston Marathon. And then I think he had a section on how to optimize your time once you've competed in a few. But here's the thing. He recognized that going from couch potato to 5K is a very different journey, and it's just the start of a journey. So they need different advice, like what equipment, how to buy shoes, blah, blah, blah. So we need to think about the customer journey, and this is how we intentionally guide strangers from just being strangers, never heard of us, to loyal, lifelong advocates. And that's my little mantra is, it is expensive to acquire new customers. A lot of marketing spend, a lot of marketing effort, a lot of sales effort. Why wouldn't we spend the time to identify what else they need from us and solve that pain as